Good morning. My name is Carolina and I would like to show you the books that I create. I will tell you how I came to this and about a very interesting and very promising technology that I use. For those who see, there's a visual presentation. You will see my books and the illustrations in them. And for those who listen, I will try to do my best painting with words. It's been about 3 years since I started making tactile books. Before that, I didn't even realize that there are some blind children on this earth and they need picture books. Then once it came to me. I was shaken to learn that in fact they don't have pictures. They do have books. For almost 200 years, the braille writing is a great invention, a tool, a medium, but the pictures are missing. At that time, I was preparing my PhD project at the Academy of Art in Design Department. I was thinking about children's picture books based on a very elementary graphic concept. I've always been keen on graphic games, plays, dealing with pictures. I'm a mother of 5, so I was very much in it. We've always played with lines, dots, stains, and did a lot of drawings. So I knew that was the theme for me to develop. I've written 9 texts. These are poems about these abstract ideas like a dot, a line, geometrical shapes, etc. The illustrations were made by pens, stencils, crayons, paints, or handmade prints. So my project was almost ready when I've come across blind kids, and it changed everything. It's a longer story and it is not the right time for telling it now, I guess. To make the story short, I decided to make those books tactile, though I had no idea how to do it. I had to take 1 more year of studies. I had to learn a lot, not only about typography. I had to work with children with sight disability and, of course, find a technology that would match my idea. And the idea was to make a tactile picture as rich, as subtle as the visual one. I wanted the tactile image to tell as much to the blind or low of sight child as the visual image tells me. And that took another year. Eventually, I used completely new technology and developed a method to use for book typography. Now I'm pretty sure this technology and this method are the future. Of course, there will always be a need for handmade books made of many different materials for toddlers. But I'm telling you about mass production. With the structural print, you can have illustrated school books. You can have books for children about 4 and more years old. You can have very detailed scientific illustration, great adaptations of works of art, and the tactile artwork itself. The potential is enormous. What I consider best is the fact that they are really universal. They are as appealing tactilely as they are visually. There are tactile gradients, dispersions, tones, halftones, and first of all, bright colors, just as in the painted or drawn picture. To me, this is amazing. The braille is also very good to read. I tested all this with the children and I got great feedback. They had no problem with reading the text and a lot of fun touching the illustrations and tracing the history of dots, spots and figures. There was so much laughter I had tears in my eyes. I was so moved. The books teach the very basis of the image. They help with spatial orientation. They teach new words, idioms. They have good rhymes and a very nice rhythm. You could sing them. After I defended my dissertation in January 2020, I founded the publishing house Gimnastyka Wyobraźni, which is of course in Polish, and it means the gymnastics of the imagination. And I also made a new word, Imagimnation, to combine these two. Now, the technology itself. Well, the structural print, as we call it, is a print cured with ultraviolet light. Basically, it comes down to overprinting the picture as many times as it is necessary to obtain relief. But on the other hand, it is not that simple. I use an amazing machine, a Swiss-made plotter, but even the highest technology is just a tool. You need to know how to prepare files, and they are very special. I'm still on my way, learning and experimenting, but the results I have reached so far are really unique. If everything is so fine, where's the catch then? Well, it's the cost, at least in Polish zlotys. I wanted so much to start with these books that I made crowdfunding for the first edition of two titles, The Dot, which is in Polish, and the English one, The Red and the Blue. It was 150 books that we sent to schools and foundations. Well, there were some articles in the media, but nothing special happened. I tried to get the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Culture interested, but it seems I'm not very good at it. In any case, I wasn't successful. In December last year, I decided to invest a large sum of money into the second edition. This time I have 5 titles out of 11 that I have prepared already. And even though I sell them just and only at the cost of the production, it's still too much for an individual client. I must think how to make it profitable just a bit. Otherwise, it won't be possible for me to keep doing it and develop. I'd love to do it. It's my dream to publish and sell a lot of books. And not only books, because, as I said already, everything is possible with the structural print. I have a lot of ideas. I hope it's gonna work someday. I want tactile illustrated books to be a popular, everyday piece of culture that children have in their hands. Thank you for listening to this part. And now, since there's still some time left, I would like to tell you about what I'm working on recently. The tactile graphics, which are not part of a book but separate. I love 19th century scientific illustration very much. I love all scientific illustration, but the 19th century is just full of it. It is such an amazing resource, so good, so beautiful and precise, and it's all free because it's public domain. I'm sure that this is a very valuable part of human heritage, and it should work well for the blind if done in structural print. I started this experiment, and so far I've prepared 4 such artworks, and I have them printed in structure. I have a giant flea. It's a print, a woodcut. I mean the original, of course, made by Robert Hooke in 1665. It is one of the first microscopic images that people have seen. Then Then I have diatoms from the very beginning of the 20th century by Ernst Haeckel. The original are lithographies based on watercolor sketches, and now in structural print the effect is astonishing. No one would ever have the opportunity to touch the diatoms. They're too small, simply. Here we have it magnified, I don't know, thousands of millions or millions of times, and only now we all can see and touch it. It's been a giant work of all scientists, all the masters, to do all these uncountable illustrations of all that was interesting for them at that time. And everything was interesting and fascinating. And this passion to see, to know, to learn is clearly visible in the laborious, time-consuming illustrations. I have got a great respect for them, especially when I work on their artworks, digitally of course, and I have such a close look at a very trace of the tool led by their hands in the past. I also have a beautiful parrot, one of the collection from Natural History of Parrots by François Leveillon, the beginning of the 19th century. I do it to develop my skills with preparing the files, and the structures I reach are more and more sophisticated, I would say. We have the genius of nature, the incredible meticulous work of an old passionate, and the newest, highest printing technology, and me to combine it all. I hope that museums of natural history will be my clients someday. Thank you very much for listening. I'm very happy that I had this opportunity to share with you my hopes and ideas. Thanks a lot.